Hello everyone, and welcome to June's Expert of the Month series. And today's topic is, what is Infusionsoft and why should you know it? I am Jan and I'm your moderator today. Everyone will be in listen-only mode. As we go along, if you have any questions, please type them into the question pane and they will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce our presenter today. Jama St. John is owner and founder of Strategic Virtual Solutions. She started her virtual assistant career in 1996 as a solo VA and now manages a team of 25 plus virtual assistants from her farm in Georgia. Strategic Virtual Solutions offers marketing strategies, implementation, and high-level technical virtual assistant services to successful entrepreneurs. Jama started her journey with Infusionsoft in 2005, and in addition to helping her virtual assistant and Infusionsoft clients build successful businesses through strategies, implementation, and consulting, Jama works with virtual assistants to build the business they want along with the lifestyle they want instead of just having a hobby. Jama also produces a weekly podcast called Strategic Business Building and is the author of the Kindle book, Marketing for Small Businesses, Creating an Amazing Referral Program, and contributing author of So What Do You Do, Volume 2. Wow, that's quite the bio, Jama.
Thanks, Jan. And thank you for having me. Before we dig in, I kind of want to get an idea of where everybody's at with their Infusionsoft knowledge. So if we could pull that poll up and let us know what your level is, whether it's something that you've never heard of Infusionsoft until you saw the announcement for the Expert of the Month, or you've heard it but you really don't know what it is, or you know what it is but you've not worked in it, or you're currently working in Infusionsoft. So we'll answer that question.
Okay, I think we have enough people who voted, so let's go ahead and close that.
Okay, what were our results?
Okay, we have, I think everybody's heard of it. 0 have checked off, never heard of it. 32% have heard of it but not sure what it is. 53% know what it is but they're not working in it. And 16% are working in it.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to start with a little bit of background. As Jan said in my intro, I started working in it in 2005. Infusionsoft started its company in about 2002 or 2003. And if any of you were in business in 2005, you know that world is very different from what it is today. And I had a client that was, he was doing postal mailing every month to his prospects. And in 2005, he came to me and he said, hey, I'm going to start doing this email marketing thing and I'm going to use Infusionsoft. Are you okay with learning it? And I said, yeah, I'll learn it. You know, I pick up software, it's pretty easy, so not a problem, I'll learn it. And I jumped in and learned it. At that time, there was nothing to teach you how to do anything in Infusionsoft. You could Google something and you wouldn't get anything. There weren't videos, there weren't trainings. The only thing they had was Infusionsoft would do a weekly call for 1 hour and they taught you specific things in the application. And that was it. So it was a lot of trial and error to learn Infusionsoft. It was a lot of calls to support, and I don't know how many people they had working for them at the time, but you would call support and sit on hold for 30 minutes. So the last thing I wanted to do was call them. So I just work my way around it and figure it out. Now, of course, you can pretty much Google anything that you're trying to do in Infusionsoft and you can find a YouTube video that shows you how to do it. And I've got a video channel that I put videos up every couple of weeks on different things. So there's a lot more resources to learn it. So what I want to start with is kind of going into what it is, and then we're going to go into the application, and I'm going to show you some things around in the application. You're not going to learn it all in this hour. It's impossible. There's a lot to it, but I'm going to try to give you as much as I can during this time. So what is Infusionsoft? It is an all-in-one sales and marketing software. So it does your email marketing. It does multimedia marketing, so you could do faxing or an emails or letters. It's your e-commerce, so it has your shopping cart. It's also your client relationship management, and it's the affiliate management program. And why should you know it? So Infusionsoft's target market is small businesses, and that's who a lot of us are working with as well. So a lot of coaches and speakers and authors use Infusionsoft. A lot of local service providers, companies with sales teams, fewer than 10. So they're really targeting the small business owner. And the systems that Infusionsoft replaces would be like One Shopping Cart, Constant Contact, Aweber, Act, Salesforce, Zoho, and Goldmine. And then some of Infusionsoft's competition, one of the big ones is Entreport. So when I get somebody that calls me that's thinking of moving to Infusionsoft, they're also looking at Entreport. Green Rope, Active Rain, or Active Campaign, and HubSpot are some of the others that people have talked about. And so why Infusionsoft? As businesses grow, they're using multiple systems, and that just creates extra work and chaos. So you may have Constant Contact that you're having to go in and do something with, and then maybe a contact management program, or maybe your e-commerce is somewhere else, or they're just using PayPal, and so then you have to add people to Constant Contact. So it eliminates that multi-system chaos. It eliminates the disorganization. And then, of course, lost revenues. So lost leads, prospects, and customers because there wasn't any kind of targeted follow-up. And then the manual labor with just, the multi-system chaos thing and working in different systems. So Infusionsoft eliminates that. So next I want to go into the application, and I'm going to well, no, I'm not going to do that yet. Never mind. But we're going to talk more about it. So email marketing. I have heard Infusionsoft be described as Constant Contact on crack. So it's not like Constant Contact, Aweber, any of the other programs. It's got such a higher level of customization that can be done with it. You can have unlimited autoresponders and unlimited opt-in forms. You can have one, so let's say you can have one autoresponder stop if somebody clicks a link, and you could have another series of emails start when that link is clicked, because at that point you know that they're interested in that, and then you can target your messaging more to what they're interested in. And you segment your list based on tags. So if somebody likes green apples, you can tag them that they like green apples. Or if they like red apples, you can tag them that they like red apples. And then you can send your emails more specific to them. And then Infusionsoft has a 97% email deliverability rate. So the multimedia that I mentioned, you can send letters and postcards. You can actually connect Infusionsoft to send out cards, and you can have birthday campaigns so that when a client's birthday rolls around, something goes through the API that tells send out cards to send this card now. You can also send faxes, you can send voice broadcasts, and of course you can do text messaging too. So the CRM, so all the contacts are in one place. You can, what I do, like when I'm doing prospect calls, I go into the personal notes area of the contact and I type up the conversation there. So if I call that person in 2 weeks or they call me in 2 weeks, then I can go back and easily find them and see what we talked about. And then you can also create tasks. So if you needed to follow up with somebody in a week, then you could create a task to remind you to do that. And then we talked about segmenting the list by tags. And the shopping cart. You can have your custom order forms. You can have a whole shopping cart storefront. So a storefront would be more like if you go, when you go to Staples or Office Depot and you have all these different products you add into your cart. That's like a storefront. An order form would be like a one-off product that you are wanting, or that your clients are wanting to sell. And then you can create upsells and downsells and cross-sells and try to create more income through that. And then of course you can have specific follow-ups based on what somebody purchases. And then the affiliate management program. So if your clients have joint venture partners or referral partners that are helping promote them, then that system can be set up in Infusionsoft. You're not limited on the number of redirects you can create. You can create as many as you want. You can have as many affiliate programs as you want. So sometimes clients will have a bronze program that they pay a lesser amount to, and then maybe a gold program that they pay a higher amount to. So you can have multiple programs set up. One product can go into those multiple programs. You're not restricted there. And then you can create campaigns specific to affiliates and remind them to purchase, and they're segmented, so they're tagged. So you can touch base with them, just to remind them to promote you in different, or promote your clients in different, you know, if they're doing teleclasses or product launches and that kind of thing. You can send stuff to the affiliates to promote. And then some just other nice features of Infusionsoft. It's easy to import contacts. People, when you're importing your contacts, you're essentially saying that you've got permission to market to them, and you don't have to have the imported contacts double opt-in again, which I know some systems require that. And it's kind of a pain when you're moving from one system to another, and then you have to send out an email to your list asking them to double opt-in because you've changed systems. There's also a lot of plugins. So I always tell people Infusionsoft can do so much, and that's what makes it great. But Infusionsoft can do so much, and that's what also makes it bad. There's a lot of plugins out there that integrate with Infusionsoft that will allow other things to happen. So some examples I already talked about: send out cards, plus this is another example, and it has a lot of different features. But one of them is, that gets used a lot, is people want to track where their prospects stop watching videos. So let's say your clients have sent out a promotion for this new video that they have, or a recorded teleseminar or something, and you can actually track with plus this how far they watch into the video. So if they watch halfway through the video, you can apply a tag. If they watch, you know, almost to the end of the video, you can apply another tag. And what that does is you can customize the follow-up. So if somebody only watched halfway to the video, then they didn't see the offer for the program, then you may want to change their follow-up. So you want to send them different types of emails than somebody that's watched the whole video. And so that's kind of a cool feature that gets used. Solution. So before we get into the application, I'm just going to stop for a second and see if there is any questions.
Hey, Jama, no, there's no questions at all about your presentation so far.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can everybody see the screen okay?
We had one person that said she couldn't see the screen. I don't know. Everybody else is saying they can see it. So we're good.
Okay, good.
We're good to go.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the application. And Jan, while we're in there, if any questions come up, let's go ahead and address them at that point because we'll be at that point in the builder. And then if it's something that I'm going to address later, then we'll address it later. But if we're in there and a question pops up that somebody has, go ahead and just interrupt me and let me know.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now I got to get over to Firefox. Nope, we were just there. There we go. I have a new laptop. I'm still trying to figure it out. So this is the inside of Infusionsoft. When you log in, this is what you see. So first I'm just going to cover the different areas of Infusionsoft, and then I'm really going to spend time in the campaign builder, which is where a lot of, we'll just say magic. It's where a lot of the magic happens. So when you hover over this little ribbon thing, it brings down more drop downs. So your CRM area is really what it says. It's where your contacts are. In Infusionsoft, you could also have companies. Like if you have a client that works with like Coca-Cola, for instance, and they have a lot of contacts from the same company, then you may have a company listing as opposed to just doing contacts. Now, most of my clients are small business. They're working with other solo entrepreneurs, so I don't really use companies at all.
Jama?
Yeah.
Sorry, we have one question right now. Somebody's, Carol is asking if you have to purchase the software yourself or does your client purchase it?
The clients purchase it. So unless you're going to use it in your own business, then your clients would purchase the software. And there's an upfront fee to purchase, and then there's a monthly fee, just like there is with One Shopping Cart and Constant Contact.
Okay, and now Michelle wants to know how much it costs, but let's just say a lot of money.
Well, it depends on what your definition of a lot of money is. The upfront cost varies, and then the monthly cost varies as well, depending on what the client needs. So it's between $199 a month and $379 a month. Any others?
Nope, no other questions.
Okay, so the opportunities part of it, if you're working in an application, you may or may not see the opportunities part of it because that is, that's included in the deluxe sales, and not everybody has the deluxe sales. So that's more for companies that have sales teams, and they're really trying to track the sales and how many contacts before somebody buys and when's the next follow-up and all that. So you may or may not see an opportunities in there. The referral partners, that's your affiliate area. The visitors right here is where there's a web analytics in Infusionsoft that you can put on websites, and then you can go into that visitor area and see like the number of visits or the number of contacts that have visited your page and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to skip the marketing at the moment because that's where we're really going to spend time. Then your e-commerce, this is where you would just go in and set up your e-commerce orders. If I click on that, it'll show a report of the orders, your products, so you set up a product in Infusionsoft, and then if you're using the storefront, you're good. If you're using an order form, that would be done separate. Actions is kind of a legacy, which is their pre-campaign builder. So if you hear somebody say that's a legacy feature, that's before their campaign builder came out, which came out I think a couple years ago. So promotions, so you can create coupon codes, you can have pricing based on a date. So you could say from the 15th of the month to the 30th of the month, we're going to do this pricing. You could have it based on quantity. That's also where you would set up upsells and downsells. And then legacy is stuff, pre-campaign builder. And then your admin area. They've got a branding center, so you can go in there and upload logos that will automatically, when you create an email template, it'll automatically pull in the right header and that kind of stuff. The Infusionsoft account, that's the where you could go in and change credit cards and that kind of stuff. Users, the Infusionsoft applications come with 3 to 5 users depending on which package people get. Importing data and data cleanup. So importing data is like importing your contacts, which you can also do under the contacts, under the CRM. Data cleanup. So if you've got a client that has multiple, let's say multiple CSV files that are getting imported, then you could do a data cleanup and find out how many duplicate contacts are in there and then merge those contacts. So the marketing, it's got an area where you can create a template. What I usually use in the template area is if I'm just doing a one-off promotion, whether the clients are promoting somebody else, promoting their own product, and their e-zines, that usually gets created in the template and then sent off. Of what you do can happen. If you've created a product in the e-commerce area, then you come into the campaign builder to build out the follow-up. So we're going to go ahead and create a campaign, and we'll just call this IVA. Now we're going to go into this kind of mind map area where we're going to build things out. So your traffic source. So this is, where is traffic coming from? Is it coming from a blog? Are you running Facebook ads? Are you doing Facebook posts, Twitter, YouTube? Where is it coming from? And these little icon things, they don't do anything. So if you aren't sure where they're coming from, don't stress over going, oh gosh, I don't know if it's coming from Facebook or not. They really don't do anything. And most of the time I actually don't even put them in the campaigns at all. But you would just drag this over and you click on it and you hold your left button on your mouse and you drag it, and when you get it to where it goes, you let go. And then your goals. So this is the thing that, how are people getting into this campaign? Are they filling out a web form? Are they clicking a link in an email? Are they getting a tag? So sometimes things happen through the API and a contact gets added and a tag gets added, or maybe there's multiple campaigns going out, so you've got a campaign that's, I'm trying to think of why I would put something in two different campaigns. I don't know. The tag gets applied for some reason, either a product that they purchased or they click the link in another email. That might be it. So maybe you send out an email through an e-zine, which is back in that other area. We're not doing that in the campaign. That's just a one-off email. And so maybe there was an email that went out like that, and if somebody clicked a link, they get a tag. If they get that tag, then it starts in this campaign builder. So that would be a reason why you'd want a tag to start a campaign. And download file. So we have all kinds of things. So I'm just going to click on this sign up for newsletter, and we're going to drag this over. We're going to drop it. Then we can hover over the traffic source and we can drag it and connect it. If I click on this little icon, then you can see the different goals that can get achieved by the contact. So they submit a web form, they submit a landing page form. So you can create landing pages here as well. I had a client recently whose website wasn't done. And so she had some things she wanted to promote, so we used Infusionsoft's landing page to create them there instead of on her website. Now, I would recommend if somebody has a website and pages can be created on that website, that they get done there as opposed to the Infusionsoft. But sometimes clients have hosting or, maybe they're using Joomla or Drupal or something that it's not easy for them to go in and do stuff. And so a landing page would need to be created in Infusionsoft. And so you can do that. So you have clicks a link. Reaches a score. So that's something in Infusionsoft you can set up parameters of when somebody gets a flame. And if they click a link, maybe they get a flame. If they open an email, they get a flame. And so somebody that has 5 flames are like really interested in your client's stuff. And so maybe there's something different you want to do when they reach that level of wanting to interact. And of course you got purchases of product. And then there's different things that can be done on the user side. So that was all on the contact side. For the user side, there's internal web forms that users can use. There's tasks that get created, and once that task gets completed, then you could start a different sequence of stuff. Moves and opportunity, that's in that sales area, and you have different levels. Maybe it's left a voicemail, waiting 2 weeks or something like that. So there's just different stages of those opportunities. And applies a note. Within a contacts record, you can apply a note. Usually they're created in the campaign, and it may say, like in the case of recurring billing, if the client has a subscription and a credit card has failed, and now you've gone in and you've gotten that credit card information, you've applied the new credit card towards the subscription, then you can apply a note to get them out of the failed recurring billing campaign. So it's just another way to kind of document what happened, but yet also move somebody through a campaign, and then of course applies a tag. And then the integration. Grow Social is Infusionsoft's company, and it does Facebook and Twitter stuff. And then the Twitter lead gen card, I've never used that, so I don't really know what it is. And then an API call is made. So that API calls are things that happen from like third-party applications. So we're just going to start with the web form. And we're going to say they signed up for the newsletter, although that's not a good freebie. Should be some type of lead magnet. And if we double-click then on the big icon, if we wait for it to open, so it comes preloaded with the first name and the email address and the submit button. And if we click here on the field snippets, we can drag over any other information that we want to collect. So if it's something that we want to collect a phone number, we click on it and drag it down and drop it. And you can change the there we go. You can change what it says. So instead of phone 1, it says phone number. And then you can make it required or not required. And this phone group, that's just telling it what field it's going to go into. So in Infusionsoft, there's 5 different phone fields and then your 2 fax fields. So you could put it into a different field if you needed to, and then just save it. And we can tag them as green apple. So if we just click on that, and we can create this tag right here and create it. Jan, can you still hear me okay?
You keep going in and out. You're good for a while, and then we'll lose you for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then you come
Okay.
back again.
Okay, I had the little thing pop up that said my audio connection had been lost, so.
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, good. So you can tag them, and then you just click the Done button, and we can go in and click on the Apply a Tag for the red apple. Create it, click Done, and then we'll save it. So then that shows up in the form. And so you can, if you needed an address, you could do that. A checkbox would be something along the lines of click here if you want to receive my newsletter. I can't talk and type at the same time. And then again there you could apply a tag. So we could either, there's one already in here. Yeah, so we could apply the Nurture Subscriber tag and click Done and save. And then the snippets up here. So these are, you can add a paragraph, title, pictures. So you can add a paragraph here and you just drag it in and then you highlight it. You can say fill out your information below to receive whatever. And you can format those. So if you wanted to make it a different color, you click on the Format button. And then this works pretty much like anything in Constant Contact, Aweber, with your WYSIWYG editors. So you could change the font. You can change the font size. And you could change the color. You could bold it. So you can do anything with that. And then if we come back over to snippets, you could drag in an image. And then you double click on the image and you can either select from images you've already uploaded to Infusionsoft or you can add a new image. If you, like there, that image doesn't really make sense there and I want to drag it above. So if you hover over the box, it'll bring up this option to delete it, or if you just hover over the bar and then hold down the left mouse, you can drag it to where you want. And you could also center that. And then there's things you can do with the Submit button, and you can go in and customize it. You can change the words, you could change the colors, and that you could do that with the wrench. And I'm not going to go into that because I want to make sure we can build out an entire campaign. But that's stuff that you can do. And then your thank you page. You can use either the Infusionsoft hosted thank you page, and you go in and customize this with the right header and the right colors. If you come in over here to layout and style, and this is in the web form as well, and you'll see it in the emails also. If you click on layout and style, you could change your layout so that maybe you want a white background instead of the gray background. So you could do that. Or maybe a black background, and you can customize these and rename them so that it stays branded with your client's branding. And you can change all this verbiage too, and you can insert YouTube videos, you know, spacer. So spacer would be, if you just wanted to put some more space between one snippet and the other, then that's what you could do, and you could change the height of that. You can also have it go to a client's website. So from the drop-down, you would just select web address, and then you would just type in the web address that it needs to go to. In most cases, you won't need to pass contacts information to the thank you page. If you're doing upsells and the page is being hosted on the website, then you'd need that, but most of the time you don't need to do that. And then if we click on settings, so you can check for duplicate records, and most of the time you want to check for duplicate records, and if I'm checking, I just always use the person's email address. Very seldom do you not want to check for duplicate records, because then that's going to create multiple contacts for the same person, but there are some instances that you don't want to do that. And then you can select who you want to send an email notification to. And you can put multiple people in here, you just separate them by a comma, and then you can also change what the email subject says. And then if we go into code, you can use JavaScript, which if you use JavaScript, the exact look of the website or the web form that's here is what it's going to look like. So if you don't know code, your client doesn't know code, and you're trying to get a specific look, then you could use JavaScript. Excuse me. And you can also use the HTML code. So if you use this HTML code, it's going to take the styling that you've done, and it's going to bring that over. You can also use HTML code unstyled, and that's just going to give you the rundown version of it. And then when you put it on your website or on your client's website, then you can use HTML code to make it look however you want it to look. And then you can also have your webmaster do it, and that just shoots them an email with all the code. And you can use the hosted version as well. So if we just, well, it's not going to, I was going to say we could look at it, but it's not going to show what we've did yet because we have to publish it. So let's go ahead and move this out of draft and put it to ready. We're going to come back to the campaign, and we'll go ahead and publish it. And while it's publishing, do we have any questions on the web forms, Jan?
No, we don't. I'm surprised. They're a very quiet group, Jama.
All right. Well, good. So when I published it, it came over to the performance mode, so I just clicked on the edit button. And now I'm going to double click and open up the web form again. And click on the code button. And I'm going to come down here to the use the hosted version, and we're going to see what it looks like. And there it is. So we've got our web form, and now we're going to drag over a sequence. And so this is going to be what happens after somebody fills out the web form. And I usually double click on these and tag it. It's usually a tag in emails. And if this were some type of lead magnet instead of a newsletter, we might say 10 mistakes report, or whatever the name of the report is. So that way when you are going in and looking at reports, you can differentiate what web form is what. So now we're going to double click on this sequence. And so there's several things that happen in here. You have the start button, and you could have things that happen immediately, and there could be things that need to be delayed. So the first thing we're going to do in this case, because I tag everything, is we're going to click on this processes, and we're going to drag over apply a tag. And I'm going to double click on it, and I don't have a tag created yet, so we're just going to say the 10 mistakes free report requested. And we're going to create that. And we're going to save it. If there were a second tag that needed to be applied at that same time, you could just click underneath that where you put this in, and it'll bring the drop down, and you can either select the tag, or you can type in a new one and create it again. And then the next thing we want to happen is an email, and I'll go through and talk about what the rest of these are in a minute. But the next thing we want to happen is an email. So we're going to drag over an email. And maybe this is the download link. If we double click on the envelope icon, then it's going to bring up our email template. So you put in your subject line. It's not a good subject line, but it's okay. And you change your text here. And this works the same as most other WYSIWYG. Again, looks just like the web form area when we were creating the web form and the thank you page. So you say click here to download and your link. And you want to make sure your links, whether it's the thank you pages or in the emails, start with the HTTP. And insert an update. And again, we've got our layout and style over here. We've got the gray background. Gray background drives me nuts, so I always change it to the white background. So it looks like a regular email. And if we double click, if things are set up in the branding center, then this would actually show the logo that's set up in the branding center. But you can drag over images within this email. If you had an image that you wanted to put in there, you'd click on the insert button and you could insert an image. And I'm not going to, the only image I have, this is a sandbox version, so it's not connected to anything, it doesn't do anything, and I don't have a bunch of stuff loaded in it yet. So, but you would select your image and then you'd insert an update, and that would actually put it in the email itself.
Jama, we have
Yes.
a question. We have a question.
Oh, yay!
Kathy asks, is this where we can add videos to?
Yes. So if a client has a video on YouTube, you can use this YouTube snippet and you would drag it in. And what it's going to do is ask for the video ID, and you would put that in here, which is the last part of the YouTube video. Now, it's not going to play in the email, but it'll have a link then to the it'll show the what's it called, the whatever it's showing in
Thumbnail.
in YouTube.
Thumbnail?
There we go. Thumbnail. It'll show the thumbnail and then it'll link to YouTube to play. Anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, and then to delete, so if you drag in something and you didn't really want it to be there, if you hover over the snippet area, okay, this is a new computer, that screen keeps popping up and I can't figure out why. I know it has something to do with the mouse, but I can't figure out how to make it stop. So if you hover over that snippet area, then there's a trash can and you just hit it and it'll delete it. Your text, you can format it the same. You could go in and do bolding or italics and change color, change the font, all of that. And then this area is a signature. So if we look at the snippets, there's this signature is grayed out, and that's because the signature snippet is already in the email. But if you are in there and that's not the signature it needs to be, if you click on the little edit configuration, then you could select what signature, who it needed to be, and then click the save button. And then when it's all set, you want to make sure to move it to ready and then go back to the sequence. And usually in here, in this email again, we just show you this because this can happen. By default, it comes up as the contact's owner. I always change it to the client's name because sometimes if I import contacts, then by default I'm set as the contact's owner, and I don't want emails coming out from me that are the, for the client. So I always make sure that in this from area, I select the client's name, so to make sure that it always comes from them.
Jama?
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions.
All right.
Okay. Camille wants to know about getting a sandbox version to try.
I will, at the end, I'll tell you how to do that.
Okay.
Well, actually, I can go ahead and tell you now because I don't have the URL. But if you Google Infusionsoft Sandbox, you should find a link that will get it. And so it's where you can just go in and play. It won't send out emails, and you won't get support from the support line, the chat line. It's not, so it doesn't do anything. It's just where you could go in there and play with it and start figuring things out, but you can't actually use it for anything.
Okay, thank you. And another question about the signatures. Kathy wants to know, what if the signature was one that wasn't in there? Can we add it somewhere?
So in the signatures are set up in the user area, and let's say like the emails going out from somebody that's not actually a user in Infusionsoft, or maybe the client has two different businesses, so one is going to be one signature and the other would be the other signature. If that's the case, what you can do, you don't have to have this signature area in here, and so you can delete it and then just add it in the bottom of the email. So you could just say, or whatever the signature is. So you don't have to use the signature area, but if somebody's got a long signature, it's just a quick and easy way to pull it in.
Okay, Kathy was saying if it wasn't on the
Did
list.
that answer that?
Yeah, she said if it wasn't on the list. So I guess that's
so if it's not on, if they're a user in the application, then it'll be on the list. But if they're not a user, then you can't pull in the signature, and you would just put it in the paragraph text. In the paragraph snippet.
Right. Okay, thank you. And another question from Camille. Is there a single user license or trial?
No. There is, the cheapest monthly is going to be $199, and that's for 3 users, and that's just the email marketing and the content management. So you wouldn't get e-commerce with that.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it for questions for now.
Okay. And then most of the time you want to send out multiple emails. So you're going to, a lot of times it's a delay timer. Sometimes it's going to be a date timer. Sometimes it may be a field timer. So you could drag over the delay timer. So the difference would be if somebody requests the free report, and you're going to have people coming in at all different days. And so then you want to wait 2 or 3 days to send them another email. A date timer would be if for a teleclass, the teleclass is on a specific date, then you want some reminders to go out like the day before or an hour before, a couple days before, that kind of thing. So you would use a date timer in that instance. And then the field timer is going to run based off of the contact's information in that field. So it could be a birthday campaign, and you want to send out an email on their birthday. So you would use the field timer in that instance to run on that specific date based on that contact. So whichever one you're using, you would drag it over and you double click on it, and then you can configure it to run, how many days, or you can configure it to run an hour or 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 week, whatever it is. We'll just leave it at 3 days right now. And then you can configure it to run any day, on the weekend only, on the weekday only, a specific day of the week. So maybe you only want it to run on Tuesdays, or maybe day of the month would be like the first Tuesday of the month, whatever that is. And then you can select your time too. And then you would click the save. And then you'd go back into communication and you drag over another email. And so that's how you would build out that email follow-up that goes. We're almost at the top of the hour. Time goes so quickly. So let's talk about these processes a little bit. So applying a tag, we did that in the very beginning. Applying a note, and we'll just double click on it. It makes no sense where it is. But you can select from the drop down what type of action it is, and then you can put in your description here, and then you create your note. So maybe like in the case of the recurring billing failure, the description might be credit card updated. And you could put some notes in there and what user you want to notify. This makes no sense of where I put it in the campaign, so just completely know that it's there, but it wouldn't necessarily go here. What might go here though, so I clicked on the connection there and I'm going to delete it. Drag something in and you don't really want it there. If you click on it just once, then the big red X comes up and you can delete it. Would make sense, would be a task. So maybe if somebody hasn't responded after a week or whatever, then a task is going to get created to let your client know or let you know that there needs to be some follow-up. So we double-clicked on the task, and again here we select what type of task it is. We're going to make it a call, and you can put in your merge codes. And in the emails you can pull in merge codes too. So maybe we just put in the person's name, and then we come down into the body and we say need to call, and we can put in their phone number. Somewhere in here. Where did it go? There it is. And their number. And then you can assign it to the contact's owner, or you can assign it to a specific user. And then you want to notify as well. And we'll take it out of draft. Priority we have to fill out, so this is critical. So you can select critical, essential, or non-essential on the priority. And then we go back to the sequence. So now what would happen if Jane Smith was coming through this campaign, she got the tag, she got the first email, waited 3 days, and then got this email once it was done, and then a task comes to whoever we assigned that task to that says Jane Smith didn't respond, call them. And then you would set this back to ready, and then back to the campaign, and then publish it. You always, if you make changes in the campaign, you always have to publish it. And let's say in this instance we had a series of 5 or 6 emails in here, and if somebody bought, so say we were promoting a product, if somebody bought that product, then we don't want to keep bugging them about buying the product. So we're going to come back to our goals. So the goal has started the campaign because they filled out the 10 mistakes web form here, but we're also going to have a goal that's going to stop the campaign. And this is going to be our purchase goal. And we would connect these. And if you double click on the shopping cart, you can select any purchase or specific purchase. Most of the time it's going to be specific purchase because you're promoting a particular product. And then you would select the product that applies and click Save. And then you'd publish it again. So that's really the basic nuts and bolts of the campaign builder. Do we have any questions?
Well, Jama, we don't have any questions about the campaign builder. Camille has some questions, more questions
Okay.
about the cost, though. Okay, she wanted to know the upfront cost. the upfront cost, she said, what do you charge a client for managing for them? Their upfront cost plus monthly cost plus your cost. So maybe that's
Okay.
something you can take offline, that part. It's up to
Yeah.
you. It's up to you.
Yep. The upfront cost is going to vary. You know, as certified partners, we sell it. My upfront, the lowest, and depends on the package, and it's on my website. If you go to strategicvirtualsolutions.net/buy-Infusionsoft, that will give you my upfront costs, and but it's $2,000, $3,000, or I think $10,000, depending on the package. And then Infusionsoft has their, you know, if you buy it from Infusionsoft, they have their own upfront. And so everybody creates their own upfront. So it's Infusionsoft has a kickstart. Mine is more specific coaching and training towards the client, and then other certified partners have their own thing. So there's no set amount on the upfront. And then they would pay, the Infusionsoft then would be the $199 up to $379. And then to manage it monthly, it just really depends on what clients need each month and how you're structured.
Okay, thank you, Jama.
Any other questions?
No, we don't. Not right now.
Okay. Okay, there's just really, you know, it's really hard to, there's just so much that Infusionsoft does. It's really hard to cover it in the amount of time that we had. So one of the things that I do, I have training videos that are on my website. Oops, went too far. Oh no. How do I get back? There we go. Well, why will it? There we go. Yeah, so I have the training videos, and there are 3 hours of videos, and that's like that's the minimum of just the time that it's going to take to learn it. And I'm going to be doing a group training program that's going to start in August, and not sure, it's going to be the middle or end of August, and that may get pushed back to the beginning of September. But to get information about that and to get some videos that I do. So every 2 weeks I put out an Infusionsoft tips and tricks. And to get signed up for that, you can go to the bit.ly link and then Infusionsoft training. So bit.ly Infusionsoft training, and get signed up for the sneak peek, and then you'll also get notified when the group training starts. If you wanted to go ahead and get the videos, as IVA members, you do get 20% off. So just be sure to enter the code IVAA, and that'll put 20% off. And then if you want to do the group training then that starts in August, you'll get the cost of the videos deducted from that group training. So you don't have to worry about buying the videos, and then, you know, essentially the videos are going to be a bonus in the group training. So you would get that cost deducted from that. So any questions?
No, nobody have any questions today?
Wow. I feel like everybody's kind of been overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think maybe. Oh, we have one. Michelle asks, can we get the handouts of today's session before the recording next week? So, Michelle, are you asking about the PowerPoint presentation? Yes, she is. I believe they get posted at the same time on the IVA website in the members area.
So yeah, it's, you know, Infusionsoft, there's an expertise. People need that expertise. And in my own business, I don't work with anybody that doesn't have Infusionsoft anymore. And I've got team members that can do MailChimp, that can do Entreport, that can do Constant Contact. But I've decided that there's so many people that need Infusionsoft that that's where I'm going to concentrate on. And if you've got, you know, if prospects have another system, then they either have to switch to Infusionsoft or, I'll send them to different resources to help them find somebody that can help them with MailChimp, because we don't need to service those people anymore. So there's just a lot of people that need Infusionsoft. So it's a great expertise to add to your offerings.
Jama, you just answered my question. I was about to ask that, if it was a good service for a virtual assistant to offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's people all the time looking for it. And I think it's really important to really know what you're doing, because it can be really easy to go in and make a mess of Infusionsoft too, because I've got clients that I've had people working in it that didn't really know what they were doing, and there's a lot of cleanup that happens. And we just touched on just a very small portion of what can be happening, what can happen. And I feel like like we created tags, but we never categorized them. So I'm kind of I have a little anxiety over that. I didn't mention that earlier. So don't create tags and not categorize them.
Yes, it does look like a huge program, huge learning curve.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question come in. Oh, from Leah. She wants to know, what would you say the biggest justification for the price of Infusionsoft over other programs?
Clients that are using it are, they're selling things online, and they're they're really out there. And people like Suzanne Evans and Frank Kern and Ryan Dice and Jeff Walker, they're all using Infusionsoft. And I've talked to people and they say, well, if they're using it and they're as successful as they are, then I need to be using it. I've talked to people that aren't ready for Infusionsoft. If they don't have an email list yet and they don't have any products that they're selling online, then they don't need it yet. And they'll be at events and Infusionsoft will do their promotion, and just not everybody needs it, because the chance of them canceling them because they're not using it, or it's too expensive to hire somebody to do things for them, it's just not worth it. So it's got to be somebody that's really online, doing the email marketing and selling products online. And it just does so much more than like one shopping cart can do.
Okay, thank you. And another question. At what point should their mailing list be at before they switch to Infusionsoft?
That is a hard one. And I think there's a guideline somewhere that Infusionsoft actually has. Let me see if I have it with me. Yeah, they have. So Infusionsoft has this bullseye kind of thing, and best is 1,000 plus contacts. So that's like the center of the bullseye. And then when you go out from that, better is, where's better? Oh, they don't have, oh yeah, better is 500 to 999 contacts. And then good is 200 contacts. So, and that's what I was kind of thinking off the top of my head, was somebody's got to have at least 200 contacts. And, they need to be selling at least $100 worth of products plus online to kind of justify it, and probably more than $100 per month. Oh no, that's their marketing budget. It's $100. So.
Okay, thank you, Jama. We're getting lots of thank yous from people. Paula has now just popped in and said, for a VA that is just learning the system, what do you feel would need to be learned before the VA could really offer it as a service? It's such a big system, it's hard to tell where I would have to be to feel confident to do that.
Gosh, it really depends on the client. Like when my client switched to it in 2005, he was strictly doing email marketing. So for like the first 2 years, I thought that's all Infusionsoft could do was email marketing. And you know, sometimes you'll get clients that are just getting it and they're okay with, you know, their VA learning it as they go. I would say, you know, you really have to have an understanding of email marketing. And then the big thing is just in that campaign builder and understanding how to build out a campaign, and maybe some basics in the e-commerce area. And if you can understand those things and know how to do them, then you can start marketing that. And as you get more expertise in it, then you can raise your prices too.
Okay, Paula says thanks, Jama. Okay, well, I think we've run out of time here. So unless we have any other questions, thank you, Jama, for such a wonderful presentation. I mean, it's overwhelming in Infusionsoft, but I think your videos and your group training is just the thing that our IVA members need to offer this as a service.
Well, thanks again for having me.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you everyone for coming. Have a great day, everybody.